Organizers of the U-Stink protests that have captivated the Lebanese capital postponed anti-government demonstrations set for the evening of August 24 after a night of violent clashes with police during which dozens of protesters and police officers were wounded. The Lebanese army took up positions in and around downtown Beirut, stationing armored personnel carriers on street corners. Anticipating more protests, authorities began installing blast walls near the main Lebanese government building, site of the largest protests. The demonstrations, sparked by a garbage collection crisis that has left trash piled in the streets for weeks, have grown into a grassroots movement demanding the resignation of the entire government and an end to the country's dysfunctional sectarian system. What started last week as peaceful protests by thousands of people turned violent over the weekend after a small group of young men repeatedly tried to tear down a barbed wire fence separating the crowds from the government building, which houses the Prime Minister's office and the cabinet. On August 22 and 23 at night, police fired tear gas and water cannons at the protesters, battling them in the streets of Beirut in clashes that saw both sides hurling rocks and plastic bottles at each other. Sporadic gunfire could be heard in the capital's commercial district into the night on August 24, as police fired in the air to disperse those who remained. A few protesters later set tires ablaze in Martyrs Square, with some even pulling down trees, smashing windows and traffic lights. Workers were seen sweeping glass and other objects that were set on fire from the streets. On August 24, we arrived in the morning, found everything broken, chairs on the floor, everything is a mess, said Joseph Curry, who works at a car rental agency in downtown. The agency's glass window was smashed. The organizers of the protest say they have been infiltrated by political elements and thugs to discredit their peaceful movement. They announced the cancellation of protests planned for Monday evening on their U-Stink movement's Facebook page, saying they would hold a news conference later in the day to explain their decision. Those who did this do not represent the Lebanese people, said Salon Nedine, a Lebanese who lives in Canada and was one of a handful of people protesting in downtown on August 24. The demonstrations, the largest in years to shake tiny Lebanon, seek to upend what protesters see as a corrupt and dysfunctional political system with an ineffective cabinet and parliament. Due to chronic infighting, Lebanon has been without a president for more than a year. U.S. Ambassador to Lebanon David Hale said he was deeply troubled by the images and reports of injuries and called for a thorough investigation and restraint on all sides. Lebanon's citizens deserve to have basic services they can count upon, just as they deserve a parliament that overcomes its divisions and elects a president, he said, following a meeting with Prime Minister Tamim Salam on August 24.